You are at the Student and Professor Connections event, and this one is particularly in the social sciences. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know we were asking some folks to entertain us in the chat with some quick questions of where you're from right now. What city are you reporting from? I think some people were asking what's for dinner. Thank you so much for entertaining us as we begin this program. So I want to start by just sharing a little bit about what we have planned for you this evening. So I'm going to share the agenda with you all here real quickly, and I'm actually going to ask Elisa if you could just make sure we're recording so that students who are not able to attend will be able to view this at a later time. So we're going to start with some welcome and staff introduction so you know who are the folks that have been working really hard to bring you this program this evening. Then we're going to turn it over to our faculty to introduce themselves so we know who's in the house, followed by some responses. We had our students complete a short, brief survey asking them what do they wish their professors knew? And we kind of left it blank, ... So we're going to share those responses with you. And then the fun part, which is we're going to put you into breakout rooms so you can continue engaging in conocimiento to get to know one another. We're then going to come back and do some group sharing out to hear what some of the lessons learned, some key takeaways, and then talk about how do we continue these conversations beyond this program. And then also each of my colleagues are going to talk about the various resources and opportunities to continue engaging. And then we're going to go ahead and close out. So we're expected to be here until 7:30. So thank you again for making time to be with us in community this evening. So a little background information. So the Student and Professor Connections in the Social Sciences, this is new to us, this format, this virtual format, but the actual program is not new. So we actually started this program back in 2015, way before the Centro. So we had the Centro, the block, and now we have our Andaki Spartan Resource Center. So before those centers were formally established, we had task forces to help support our Black and Latinx students here at San Jose State. I was lucky and honored to have been one of those members of those task forces. So the task forces were comprised of faculty, of staff, of students that were really here to serve and support our Latinx and Black students on our campus. And so we were charged with creating and developing activities, programs, and services that would help support our students. And so as a member, I was invited to be able to facilitate and develop some programming to serve our students, and hence the creation of the faculty and student dinner. So they were actual dinners. We got to come together because we know that food brings us together, and convivio, right? Being able to join our community and talk about what's going on in our days without it feeling so intimidating, like office hours and formally going into a professor's office. And so it started with only about 20 to 25 students, and then we had maybe about 10 or 12 faculty members. And fast forward to fall of 2019, which was the last time we had this dinner in person, we had over 100 students that were participating in the program and close to 45 faculty members. So it definitely grew over time. And unfortunately, come the pandemic, we had to put the program on pause as we started to rethink how we were going to do this program. So we're excited that you're here with us today in this new virtual format to experience this community gathering. Now, I also want to share a little bit about the purpose of this program. So as you see here, it really helps promote and facilitate the development of strong and positive relationships between our students and our faculty. And we know from our own experience, from our staff here that engages in this work, from faculty that do this work, also from the research studies that are out there that look at the benefits of cultivating these strong relationships between students and our professors. We know that these are positively associated with student success. When our students feel seen, when they feel heard, when they feel validated, when they feel cared for, we know that our students are more likely to engage and be involved, not only in their academics, but also with the larger campus community. And in turn, our students then see themselves connected to the larger campus university. They feel like they're a community, there's a community of learners, and they're motivated to keep going despite any challenges or barriers that they may face, because now they know that they have someone looking out for them. They have someone to go to in case something happens and they need to reach out to for help, because we know that reaching out for help is not always easy. But if you've developed those strong relationships, it makes things a lot easier and our students will be supported. So I hope that you enjoyed tonight's program and that you walk away having developed or enhanced community connections. So again, welcome. I'm Lily Pinedo Gancay. I am the program director of the Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center. My pronouns are she and her. And one of the questions I asked of our faculty and also of my colleagues here is to provide our students with some advice, knowing what we know now. What advice, one piece of advice that we'd give our college age self? And so for me, definitely would be to go to office hours. I did not go to my professor's office hours, I think, until my senior year. And that was because I had to. I had to because I was getting prepared to submit my candidacy for graduation and I had no idea how to do that. And so I finally reached out to one of my professors, and I was a history major, identify as first generation. If you identify as first gen, put that in the chat. Proud to be a first generation college student, first in my family to go to college. So anyways, that was the first time I went to office hours, and I was just blown away by the amount of information that my faculty member provided me, that I'm like, why didn't I take advantage of this since day one? Because nobody told me. So that would be one piece of advice. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Emerald to introduce herself.
Thank you, Lily, and hello, everyone. So happy to be here. My name is Emerald Green. Pronouns are she and her, and I'm the new program director for the Black Leadership and Opportunity Center. I'm also alum, class of 2013, so really excited to be back working with Spartans and serving the community. One thing that I would tell my younger collegiate self is that, you know, I have ancestral DNA in my body and in my lived experiences, and I have everything I need to survive and to thrive as a Spartan. And I wish I would have told myself that more often. I wish I would have believed myself when I said that, and truly felt that on a deep spiritual level to really guide me as I was navigating systems. So I wish that same thought process for you all, is knowing that you have everything you need right here today with you. So thanks for being here. And I'm going to pass it over to Chris.
Thank you, Emerald. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris, he, him, his pronouns. I'm the director of the Mosaic Cross Cultural Center and the current chair of the PIA Task Force. It's been a minute since I was a student, but going off of Lily's prompt, if I had advice for college me, it would be to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be too proud to ask for help. It took me 5 years to get out of undergraduate with a degree, mostly because I was overcommitted as a student and I didn't know how to ask for help. So, you know, don't let anything stand in your way. Colleges are trying to get you resources. You just have to be there to tell them how. So, yeah, like ask. Yeah, so I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Jonathan Gomez.
Greetings, everyone. Great to see so many folks that I miss engaging with in person. I'm honored to be here. As mentioned, I'm a professor in Chicano Studies. I'm also the undergraduate advisor, and I direct and facilitate a program on our campus called the Culture Counts Reading Series. And to answer the question that's been asked, I would tell my younger self that I'm deserving of the mentorship and opportunities that would come my way. You know, I think, you know, I grappled with feeling like I was, you know, the right person that was getting the attention that I was getting, you know, and in hindsight, you know, I've learned that there are people before me that engaged and struggled to ensure that students like myself coming from City Terrace Barrio in East LA would have the resources, right? That, you know, there are people who really opened up the doors of opportunity for folks like myself, which I'm so happy to be, you know, continuing to do that work with so many of you here at SJSU to ensure that the next generation has those opportunities. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. And I also want to acknowledge that this program is being sponsored by the College of Social Sciences. And so I want to thank all of our faculty that are here today representing your college and your departments, but also a shout out to our Associate Dean, Ron Rogers, and our Dean of the College of Social Sciences, Walt Jacobs, for supporting this really important program. Now I'm going to turn over to Chris to help us have our faculty introduce themselves.
Yeah, definitely. So you just saw us model ourselves introducing ourselves. So I'm going to start calling up faculty members. If we were doing this in person, then we would be asking you to come to the front of the room. But we're not doing that right now because we're all on Zoom. And I'm going to emphasize this very slowly and clearly right now, this one time. Brief introductions. I know how our faculty folk like to talk about all the different things that they care about, and there's plenty of time in this event for you to do so. So this point is just brief introductions. I'm going to call you all one by one according to a spreadsheet that I have. If I miss you at the end of it, please let me know. I apologize. I also apologize for getting your name wrong. There are a lot of names here. So for your introduction, please say your name correctly so people don't have to listen to me, your gender pronouns, your department, and then that question that was posed to all of us, the knowing what you know now, what is one piece of advice you would give to your college-aged self? So to start off with, let us start with Clifton Oyama.
Hi, thanks. So now my name is Clifton Oyama, or Oyama is actually the correct way to say it, although I anglicized it early on in my life. So my gender pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm a professor and chair of the psychology department. And I guess one thing I would recommend to my younger college-age self is very similar to what Lily and someone else just said earlier about office hours and asking for help. It's to not be afraid to make connections. So when I went to college, I didn't know that you could reach out to your professors for advice, for mentoring. I didn't think that they really cared. I thought they were great teachers, really impressive people, but very intimidating. And it wasn't until much later in my college career that I realized that many of these folks are really interested in and enjoy helping and mentoring students in the next generation of scholars. Thanks.
Thank you, Clifton. Next up, we have Leslie Tinson.
You picked me next. Hi, I'm Leslie Tinson. I'm a lecturer of psychology and African American studies, and I'm also a doctoral student in the Connie Ellery College of Education. I've been here since 2015, and one piece of advice I would give myself is not to listen to anti-Black faculty.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Next, I would like to invite Erin Woodhead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Woodhead from the psychology department, she, her pronouns. We've got some psychology department power happening right now, it seems like. So the piece of advice I would have is that you don't have to have it all figured out. Felt like I had to figure it all out on my own. Do I do grad school? Do I try to get a job? And that goes with the theme of reaching out. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Matt Capriati.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Capriati. I use he, him pronouns. I'm also in the psychology department. Advice I would give my younger college-age self. I'm still trying to get it down. Slow down. Don't trip if you need to take a little while longer to do things. And yeah, don't worry as much about that.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Carlos Garcia.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carlos Garcia. I use he and him and his, and I'm in the Department of Sociology and Interdisciplinary Social Sciences. And I would give little Carlos lots of advice, but I think the most important advice I would give him is that no matter how behind I might feel, no matter how overwhelmed I am by work, it's not usually so bad that 2 good 8-hour days of work won't get you right on track.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Patrick Carvalho.
Thanks. Yeah, Patrick Carvalho, he, him, his. Department of Psychology. Nice to see a bunch of my colleagues from there here. I would tell my younger self to be more present. I was too future oriented, still working on that. yeah, just enjoy your accomplishments a little bit more when you have them.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Tanya Bakru.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya Bakru. I'm in the Sociology and Interdisciplinary Social Science Department, and I'm also the program coordinator for the Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies program, and my pronouns are she, her. And I think one thing I would tell myself, my college-age self, is just that you're not alone. I was one of the only queer people that I knew in college. It was a long time ago, so it wasn't as common for people to be out, but it felt really isolating. And it was just, it took me a long time to kind of find my niche. But once I did, and I found other people I could connect to, it made the college experience a lot better.
Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to invite Soma de Bourbon.
Okay. Great. I'm still thinking, but I think, like Carlos, I would give the younger self so much advice. I'm Soma, and I'm also in cis, and you can use any pronouns you want: she, her, his, them, they, them. I would say the best advice, or what would be most important, would be to tell myself, not like, so I would say that you're enough. You're good enough. You're strong enough. You already made it to college, and you can just remember that no matter how many people try to make you feel small, you are enough. You're good enough. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Next, I would like to invite Yolanda Wiggins.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yolanda Wiggins. I'm a brand new assistant professor in the Department of Sociology and Interdisciplinary Social Sciences. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. This question, super hard. So I would also tell little Yolanda a bunch of things, but I think one of the things that I would say is you aren't here by mistake. I suffered from severe imposter syndrome, and I still do many times. I'm from Washington, D.C., also Flint, Michigan. So I had a front row seat to nearly every inequity imaginable. I would also tell her, you might not do so well on a test or a paper or two, but that's not going to define who you are. And it surely doesn't mean that you won't be successful.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Marcos Pizarro.
Thank you, Chris. What's up, everybody? I'm Marcos. I go by, I use he, his, him pronouns, and I'm in Chicanic studies and also education. And I have too much advice for the less than 60 seconds that I now have, but I would say explore, right? Like I was on such like a narrow track that I didn't explore things that would have been intellectually exciting to me. I didn't even know that I could pursue something that was intellectually exciting. I would tell myself that you're smart because I didn't believe that I was smart. And it turns out that I am. And I would say, find your people. You know, finding my people when I was an undergrad was the biggest thing that transformed my life. When I found my people, I found my path, and I was able to pursue it with just passion and abandon. So I hope you can do that too.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Faustina Ducroix.
Hi, everybody. I'm Faustina Ducroix. I'm in the Sociology and Interdisciplinary Social Sciences Department also. And my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm going to go practical. I would tell younger Faustina, learn some strategic reading strategic reading practices, because I was overwhelmed when I transferred from community college to Cal State Long Beach, and I was reading like from the front to the end and like struggling to get through like these bigger reading assignments. So just find like good study strategies.
Great, thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Joanne Rondilla.
Hi, everybody. I am Joanne Rondilia, and I go by she, her, hers. I'm in sociology and interdisciplinary social sciences and Asian American studies. And let's see, the advice I would give is what I would tell undergraduate Joanne is grades don't matter. Grades don't matter. What matters is the learning. Learning matters. And you're gonna learn from your professors, but you're also gonna learn from peers, invited guests to the campus, the people that work out. You're gonna learn from everybody. And so spend a lot less time fixating on grades and spend a lot more time being around people that you're going to learn from, because that's where the learning really is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to invite Megan Teal.
Hi, I'm Megan Teely. I use she, her, they, theirs pronouns. I'm in the Department of Sociology and Interdisciplinary Social Sciences. I would tell myself that you will graduate. You don't have to read every word that is assigned in order to do so, and find some on-campus friends.
Thank you so much. Next, I would like to invite Valen Jordan.
Hi, everyone. So I'm not turning on my camera because it is 8:30 here in Louisiana. So there's a lot of things going on in the background for me. But my name is Valen Jordan. I am the Equity and Accessibility Educator in the Center for Faculty Development. I have been at SJSU now for 6 months. And the advice that I would give to my college self is to stand in your power.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite William Armeline.
Hey everyone, my name is Will Armeline, he, him, his. I'm from Sociology and Interdisciplinary Social Sciences, like some of my colleagues here that I'm happy to see. I'm also the director of the Human Rights Institute at San Jose State. And I would definitely tell my younger self to invest some time in learning to enjoy reading and not see it as the task that I think I saw it as in my younger life. And I think school and grad school would have been a much easier path for me.
Thank you so much. And then last but not least, I'd like to invite Ronald Rogers to the stage.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ron Rogers. Thanks for having us here tonight. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am the Associate Dean for Academic Programs and Student Success in the College of Social Sciences, but I was originally a psychology faculty member, and so psychology is still near and dear to my heart. I mean, first of all, where were all of you when I was young Ron Rogers? Because I needed all that advice. Thank you very much. But I would say for me, reading has always been a challenge, and that was really brought forward in college. And so I'm going to continue the reading theme, and that was, read to learn, not to just get it done, which was always my focus. And for me, what that meant was, actually taking notes while I read. And once I figured that out, it made a huge difference in my comprehension. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I believe that's all of our faculty members. Am I missing any faculty members? No. Okay, cool. Thank you. Back to Lily.
Thank you, everybody, for introducing yourselves and sharing those words of wisdom. I hope that was very informative for our students that are joining us today. So it's still time to take some of that advice and apply it to your educational journey while you're here at San Jose State. Now we're going to transition. I want to share some highlights, some themes from the survey that we asked our students to take that asked them to finish the statement, which is, I wish my professors knew ... fill in the blank. And so we have some themes here, some recurring themes that I'd like to share with everybody, starting with our students want our faculty to know that they have a story to share and that they want you to know about. And so I've taken some quotes here, and there were a lot more than this, but I'm narrowing it down to just a few. One starting student wants you to know that they have bad social anxiety. And we know right now during Zoom, that's very real. I wish my professors knew what my home environment is like. I wish my professors knew how hard it is to get to this point where I am today in my life, and that I'm battling mental illness. So being in school is a major accomplishment for me. And there were so many more stories that I'd like to highlight, but I hope that our students feel courageous enough, or vulnerageous is another word that we learned, to share these stories with our faculty and when we go into our breakout rooms today. Another recurring theme was, you know, although they want you to know, our faculty to know their story, they want to know what your story is, and that they see you. And so I share 2 quotes here from a couple students. "I wish my professor knew how many thoughts I have trying to figure out how they were granted a seat as a professor. And I want to know what struggles they went through and what their passions are today." So definitely think about sharing some of those stories of how you got to where you are. I know that for many of us, that pathway was not linear. So definitely being able to share how you got to be where you are today will be very informative. "I wish my professors knew that we appreciate the ones who are trying their hardest to be positive and sending those weekly emails. That is very greatly appreciated." And so sometimes it's those very small things that really do make a difference, especially now during this distance learning that we're all experiencing. And yes, thank you, Marco, so much for including there that the quote, "the vulnerageous," was, I want to give credit to Dr. Farima Pourkhorshid from University of San Francisco, who came and did a talk for our students as part of our student leadership retreat. So really important work. So just thank you so much, Marcos, for that credit. A third recurring theme is, "I lack confidence." And I want to make it very clear that it's not confidence in their academic abilities, but more so in confidence in reaching out for help. And so we have a couple students here who share, "I wish my professor knew that I try to be responsive and vocal in class, but sometimes I get nervous, which makes it more nerve-wracking to attend office hours. I wish my professor knew that I'm not very good at connecting with them, even though I'd love to have a good relationship with them." That was true for me. I always wanted to have a strong relationship with my faculty, but I just never knew how or what first steps to take. And so I hope some of our students will get some of those strategies and tips for how to do that after today's program. "I wish my professor knew that I'm really, really smart. Sometimes, however, I find it difficulty to express my knowledge or relay my thoughts." And I think this one's really powerful because it tells us, informs us, like, what kind of spaces are we creating for our students to feel encouraged and empowered to be able to demonstrate the many talents and contributions that we know they can offer to not only our classrooms, but our university. Another theme is, "I'm resilient and I'm dedicated." So although we understand some of our students lack the confidence or have these other challenges or barriers, no matter what, they still push through. "So I wish my professors knew how resilient I am despite everything that I'm juggling, and how much I want to succeed and eventually give back to my community." Again, always thinking about others, not only ourselves, we're thinking about the larger collective. And that's really powerful to hear from our students. "I wish my professor knew that I'm worried about not making the right career or academic choices, but at the end of the day, I'm dedicated and I'm a committed student who would do anything to be successful in my career path." Very powerful. And the last 2 themes that we saw are, "all of this, and I still have a vision for myself. I want to be a lawyer. I'm very passionate about my field of study. I also maybe want to go to graduate school, finish my bachelor's, and go to grad school and get my master's. I also wish my professor knew that I want to pursue a career as an educator, or perhaps a career that would allow me to work with undocumented students and families." And lastly, distance learning is very complex. And this was one of the probably most recurring theme that we saw in the responses. Again, I had to limit it to just a couple because I only have a small little space here. But a couple of quotes, "I wish my professor knew that sometimes I don't answer the questions asked in class over Zoom, not because I don't want to, because I don't want to interrupt others. I want to avoid talking at the same time. But also, since I'm being recorded, and if I mess up, it might be online for everybody to see." And that's real, especially if we're recording these sessions. "I wish my professor knew that I have a lot to say, but I get nervous when speaking in front of the entire class. Also, I wish they knew that concentrating over Zoom is difficult, and it would be helpful if they had closed captioning to their lectures or put what they are saying on the slides, as it's difficult to concentrate just on audio." So we understand that our students have various learning styles, and so it's important to be mindful of that in how we deliver our content. And lastly, "I wish my professors knew that we appreciate the ones who are trying their hardest to be positive," again, and sending these weekly reminders because it is very much appreciated. And we know that we're all in this together, but it's still complex. It's still very difficult. We're all trying to make it through, but it's important to know that these are some of the recurring themes. I also want to share that although these were some of the recurring themes, there were others that came up. And so I just want to quickly highlight those, which is students were sharing the importance of wanting to create a healing spaces in class that are centered around their lived experiences. So how do you connect the content to their own unique lived experiences and being able to engage in some of those conversations? And of course, how the pandemic has impacted not only their mental health, but also their ability to focus in class. So those were other additional themes I wanted to make sure that we highlighted. So as we start to transition into our breakout rooms, I want you to think about these themes and consider the following questions. So for our students, do you connect with any of these themes and why? Perhaps there's another theme that you would like to add or highlight based on your own experience. And for our faculty, what's your response to these themes? You know, looking at your time as an undergraduate, can you relate to any of these? And we kind of heard some of those when you responded to the advice that you would give yourselves. So what do you want students to know about you? And so we hope that this could be part of the discussions that you have here in a few more minutes. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Professor Gomez, to talk about our breakout rooms.
Right on, right on. So thank you all for your answers and the chat that's going on. So much has been shared. And I just want to say that, you know, I'm always honored to ground with the Centro, Mosaic, and the Block. And through that, you know, I recognize, right, there's always something left to learn. And through my engagements, especially with the student leadership retreat through the Centro, I've learned about conocimiento, right? And that term, you know, translates literally into knowledge, an awareness, and what we like to identify, right? The caring act of cultivating connections. And so, you know, as we practice this, right, the purpose of this act of cultivating these connections is to create learning communities at SJSU where we can develop ways of being, ways of knowing and learning that recognize and respect the array of cultural knowledge, skills, and just the potential of our students, right? And the ultimate goal of that is to, you know, serve a larger purpose of achieving broad forms of social and racial justice in the world, right? And we believe that here at SJSU, we have a great opportunity to engage in those kinds of processes and in some ways, you know, spark them, but, you know, to cultivate a willingness to listen and learn from our students and to center their needs and desires. And so as we engage in this practice, you know, it's about, you know, also informing our students of who we are, listening and learning to them. And it's in this where we might move from the wish that we hear, what we heard of in the last slide, right? What we wish our students would know. So moving from wish to what is, right? And actually materializing those connections and those relationships that allow us to know who our students are, right? And so in this, right, we're gonna engage in storytelling. And then next, we're going to go into some discussion questions about how to engage, or excuse me, it's the community agreements. Sorry about that. And so just a reminder, right, for everyone here, right, we're going to engage if we, as we can, right? And so camera on if able. The next one is use the chat function relevantly. Mute mic when not using it or not speaking. Take breaks and care as you need, right? We recognize, you know, as mentioned, you know, there's so much going on, so we understand if you need to step away. Communities are built through building relationships of commitment and trust. Respect yourself and one another, and you get out what you put in, right? That goes for all of us, you know, professors and our staff members, as well as for students. And, you know, as you're engaging in this process, right, set a, you know, a goal for yourself, right? Think about how you want to build relationships with the folks that you're engaging with in these conversations. And we all still got learning to do. So let's engage in it. Let's find it. And so these are the introductions that we want folks to respond to, right? So for faculty, right, you're going to share your name, gender pronouns, your title, department, and why you said yes to the invitation to join this program, okay? And for students, you're also going to share your name, gender pronouns, your name, and why you said yes to the invitation to attend this program, right? We want to know what brings us here this evening, okay? And with the themes in mind, right, we're gonna answer these questions, right? So for professors and students, we want you to share your story. Where did you grow up and how was your schooling experience? For professors, right, what drives your passion to be a professor in the social sciences? And for students, what drew you to major in the social sciences, right? And for professors, lastly, right, what tips and strategies can you offer students that can support their personal academic and career aspirations? All right.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. So we are going to go ahead and Elisa is going to help us drop all of these questions into the chat so that you can copy and paste and take those with you when you go into your breakout rooms. And so just give us a couple of minutes. We have pre-assigned folks to breakout rooms. We did our best to match up our students based on your majors with faculty that are in your department, but please know it was nearly impossible to ensure we had a faculty member from all of your majors, but we did our best, and we know that there's benefits to getting to know faculty outside of your major. And so please just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and have Elisa start putting us into our breakout rooms. We're gonna be in these rooms for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then we will let you know when it's time to come back so that we can report back as a larger group. So Elisa, if you can go ahead and get us started, we would appreciate that.
To assist in helping us hit recording. Awesome, thank you. So we had a faculty member join us. Professor Jack, are you with us? And can you come off mute to introduce yourselves very briefly and share with us what advice you would give to your younger collegiate self?
Oh, hello. So I'm sorry, I was typing that I was listening to the Hamilton soundtrack. So can you remind me what I need to say?
Yes, no problem. Love Hamilton, by the way. Share with us your name, maybe pronouns, and then what advice you would give to your younger self as a collegiate.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jack Garaves, pronouns he, him, they, them. I'm an assistant professor in sociology and the Women, Gender, Sexuality Studies program. And some advice I'd give to myself as a younger collegiate is to not take myself so seriously and have a lot more fun and rest.
Those are very important. Thank you for sharing and welcome to the program. So we would love to hear what you all have shared and talked about in your spaces. We hope that building community with one another across generations and experiences and identities was value added and important. So I'm gonna ask for us to be a little brave here today and share some of our thoughts and responses, wanting to start with what surprised you from your community conversations. And students, we want to hear from you first. So I'm going to ask if you are willing and able, please come off mute. You can keep your camera off if you prefer, but we love to hear you and put your voice in the space. So please go ahead and come off mute and respond to the first question that you see on the screen. What surprised you from your community conversations today? You can also feel free to utilize that chat feature and drop some thoughts down in response to question number 1.
I'll go.
Yes, hello, Yasmin, please share.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, can you see me?
Yes,
I don't know if you
hello.
Oh, okay, hi.
Hi.
What surprised me and was actually kind of refreshing is that nobody really knows what they're doing. Not that they don't know what they're doing, but everybody kind of is not 100% set on their path or their journey. And it was great to hear from the professors that that's okay, that sometimes that changes. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing and putting your voice into the space. That's really important, right? Just to normalize. I think we need to do that more. Normalize that we don't all have it figured out and that you definitely have time. There is no rush. So thank you for sharing, Yasmin. Anyone else? Students would love to hear your voices. Definitely come off mute if you're willing and able.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. It was really nice to connect with professors outside of the classroom setting. And some of the things they said just really made me feel like we're all in this together and we all have similar experiences. Well, in terms that I got to hear some things that wouldn't normally be said in the classroom by professors. Like there isn't too much sharing time. So that was really nice.
Yes, thank you, Kelsey, for sharing. Wholeheartedly agree. We are not in this alone, right? We're all experiencing a multitude of things at the same time. So definitely continue to just hold on to that sentiment and think about who else in this world here as a Spartan may be experiencing similar things. So thank you for sharing that perspective. Really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and just go to question number 2 and see if there are students and faculty that are willing to share what they heard and learned. So what are some of the most interesting discoveries you made about yourself, maybe about someone else, or about cultivating community connections? Any students or faculty are willing to come off mute and share some ideas.
I could go. That's fine.
Yes.
I had a really cool like breakout room. It has a lot of people of different ages and different backstories, so it's cool to see like how much we have in common. And I'm a freshman, and the people in there were giving me very good advice. Thank you for that, about like how you could build community. They were saying to like join clubs and that there's a lot of people on campus, and to feel more like you're connected with other people is to like feel comfortable, like find your people. They were saying that.
Yes, Sabrina, find your people. Yes. And you have, right, every year to rediscover new spaces, new people, new events. If you don't have a student organization that you see, you can create one. So that's definitely some great advice. And shout out to you as a first year student for being here. And thanks for joining us. Other students that would like to come off mute and share what you learned, interesting discoveries about yourself or about others, please do so.
Can I share?
Of course.
Let me turn off my video. I feel that a lot of the things that I've discovered, especially getting connected with not only my professors, but faculty members as well, other faculty members and community organizers. I learned that I shouldn't limit myself and to keep going and discovering new things about my learning abilities and what I can do. So that's what a lot of the connections that I cultivated taught me, never to set boundaries for myself. And if I'm told that I can't do it just because of my gender, my race, to keep on going, because anything is possible.
Wow. I can't even, that was so great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I won't even respond because you said it beautifully. So thank you for putting all of that into the space. Let's go ahead and go on to our third question as we are wrapping up. Is there a key takeaway from attending this program that you would love to share? Students are talking to you, so definitely come off mute and share your perspective. Any key takeaways today?
I will go. My name's Hazel, and a key takeaway that I took is professors aren't that scary as they seem through the camera. In class, yeah, they're teaching, but it's good to get to know them outside of their like professional standpoint and go to office hours and just like find out more about them because they can help you.
Thank you so much, Hazel. And faculty members, any key takeaways, please feel free to share thoughts and perspective as well. Hazel, yes, I'm glad that we demystified some of those scary feelings in this space for you. So thanks for sharing that.
Were you asking faculty?
Yes, yes, please share.
Just one thing, that I think this is just the start of the conversation, right? I mean, it was great to talking with a couple students in our group, and yeah, it doesn't end tonight, right? So I think that's something that I'm going to take away from this.
Definitely, this is a catalyst for more opportunities to engage. And I see in the chat, we have, nobody has figured it out. Follow your passions, and through trial and error, you will find where you're meant to be. Thank you for sharing that. Other faculty perspectives, key takeaways, feel free to come off mute and share.
I just wanted to share that I just, in like us all sharing our stories, it reminded me of the amount of resiliency that we all have in our different journeys of how we got here. And it also made me feel like, hey, we're here, and that just itself is like really tremendous.
Yes, I love that. Existence is resistance, and we have all been through so much. So thank you for sharing those key takeaways, and wanting to just see if you have any lasting thoughts, go ahead and place them in the chat. We definitely want to hear your voices. And as we do that, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Gomez.
Greetings, y'all. So, Lily, did you want to say something? I mean, I was just going to say that, go on.
Yeah, we thought that this, I know I put Jonathan here, Professor Jonathan, on the spot, but I thought this was a very powerful quote that he actually shared with us, and some of the documents that he created in preparation for tonight's event. But this was a powerful document that he created, and I plan to share this with our students who are here today about how do you continue to cultivate these relationships with your professors. And so he wrapped up this document, and I want to quote him here, that shares, "As you set out to develop your learning community, there is no one way to do it. In fact, there are many different ways to build it. An important part of any building process that you must not ever forget is that understanding that you are worth every positive relationship that you create, and you are worth leaving behind every relationship that does not allow you to become your best student and your best self." And I thought that was just so indicative of, what our students sometimes experience at the university. Sometimes they do not always have those positive interactions with different members of our campus community, and it could be very traumatizing. And so, this is an opportunity to remind our students that if you do happen to have a negative interaction with someone, we want to give you the opportunity to step away, but allow yourself to reach out to others who really are here that care for you and really are committed to your success. And clearly, tonight's program is an indication of that. We have a lot of faculty members here who, it's been a long week. They're teaching all week during the class, class time periods, and yet they're still here in community with us. So I just want to appreciate and honor the time that our professors have dedicated to be here, to be in community with us. So thank you.
If I could say one thing to our students is that, so I'm going to share something. So Lily and I were actually undergraduates together at UC Santa Cruz, and we were part of a space very much like the Centro that Lily is the director of here at SJSU. And so just know that, as you engage with the various opportunities here at SJSU, you will have opportunities, you will create, resources and services for those who come after you. And it's just, I get taken aback by the fact that, Lily and I were undergraduates together, and here we are at SJSU building and really grounding and listening and learning from you students, as well as, faculty members and other staff members. And so it's really a dream to be here and to be working with all of you. And I hope that I get an opportunity to ground with you at some point in your experience at SJSU.
Absolutely. We've come full circle. Jonathan. So thank you so much. So as Professor Clifton had mentioned, right, this is just the start. This is just the start of some amazing conversations and some great relationships that are yet to be cultivated and strengthened. And so for our professors, we invite you to continue reaching out to our students. I do plan to send you the emails of the students who participated in today's program so you can follow up. We encourage you to invite them to coffee, to tea, to lunch, obviously in a virtual manner. Before, when we were in person, we did have our coffee with a professor as a way to continue the conversation, but you could still do that. And so we hope you can extend those invites. And we ask our faculty, you know, there's so many programs that are happening out of student affairs, so definitely stay connected to meet the students where they're at as well, and reach out to us at the Block, at Mosaic, and also at Centro for different opportunities to collaborate. And for our students, you know, as I mentioned before, go to office hours. Now you had a little bit of a taste for what it could be like. It doesn't always have to be so scary. You don't always have to be talking about just your class or your assignments. You could ask about their stories, where they're going, and any pointers and tips and strategies. So we encourage you to follow up via email with our faculty that are here today so you can request opportunities to continue the conversations, but also ask them about different opportunities to connect in the community. There's different internships. They have a wealth of networks as well in the community. There's also undergraduate research opportunities as you think about your major and what you want to research. I know a lot of you are thinking about going to graduate studies. So definitely connect with your faculty because there's different opportunities to continue working with them. And lastly, before we wrap up, just want to share some opportunities and some resources. So I'm going to invite Emerald to share different opportunities and resources that the Block is putting together.
Yes, thank you, Lily. Hello, everyone. So wanting to just share really quickly that I'm holding office hours as a pro staff member on behalf of the Block every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. PST. Definitely join me and tap in. I would love to get to know you and hear about your story. I definitely also want to let folks know that the Block will be hosting our Tuesday talks with faculty this semester, and I'm really excited about it. So if you're encouraged to learn more about our Black faculty and their research and some of the things that they're working on, their journey and their stories, definitely be on the lookout for more information from the Block about those Tuesday talks. And you can follow us at the Block_SJSU on Instagram. And then last but not least, I was put on to an opportunity that I'm going to place here in the chat. Definitely go ahead and read that when you have some time. The Bay Area Housing Internship Program, also known as BayHIP, is seeking students who are going to be in their senior year starting fall 21 for an internship paid opportunity for a year. And there are some postgraduate career opportunities after this opportunity, and they're seeking students specifically of color in the social sciences. So if you're interested in doing work in affordable housing in the Northern California area, definitely be on the lookout. I'll be sending that information to Mosaic and El Centro and the Block also to make sure that we can get that information out to you. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Emerald. And very quickly, Centro is hosting various community building spaces with various professors from across our colleges. So not only in the College of Social Sciences, but within College of Ed. We also have folks from College of Health and Human Sciences, Engineering that are hosting office hours. We're now calling them community building spaces because it sounds less intimidating and more inviting. But real quickly, I actually want to put Professor Marcos on the spot to quickly shameless plug here for your community building spaces that you have coming up.
I didn't know you were going to do this, Lily, but check it out. I'm ready. Those are my hours for this year. Those are all 3 to 4:30 p.m. So y'all could come out. But really what we're trying to do is just create a space for folks to come together, talk about anything and everything that you want to talk about. We check in. We share kind of like resources. We share ideas. This week we shared just what's giving us joy as a means of supporting each other. And, you know, we have these different themes. So we talked about Latinx roles in Black Lives Matter. And we talked about pursuing graduate school this past week. But we're just there to build community, to have fun, to be connected to each other, to support each other, to make this Zoom life a little bit better.
Thank you, Marcos. You're so unprepared. I don't know. So thank you so much for that information. And to any of our faculty members who are interested in collaborating with Centro on creating these different types of community building spaces for our students, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're always looking to add more of our faculty to join us. And I'm going to ask Chris to also share a little bit about what Mosaic has coming up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lily. So for Mosaic, we also have open office hours. It's actually just sitting down with us and eating lunch. So it's lunch with Mosaic and a pita. It is Wednesdays from 12 to 1:30. So after you're done talking to Emerald, you can jump into Zoom with us. You can find our links on our link tree. So you'll find our links there. And part of our office hours, we also host Let's Talk with CAPS. So Kat Fillmore is our CAPS counselor who sits down with us. And that's also an open invite to all faculty members too. Like, feel free to connect with us as well. We're happy to chat with faculty too. Yeah. And then keep an eye out for APITA Heritage Month stuff that is coming up in April.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I'm actually going to invite our Associate Dean from the College of Social Sciences, Ron Rogers, to share a little bit more about Access. I'm not sure if all of our students know about our Student Success Center in the Social Sciences.
Yeah, so Access, our Student Success Center, normally located in Clark Hall. We'll be back there next fall for sure. But right now you can go online, you can make an appointment to speak with any of our advisors. We offer all kinds of workshops through there. We have peer mentoring, we have some tutoring going on. So it's really just a great resource. You know, always connect with your faculty and your majors around those requirements and in career ideas. But anything else to do with the university requirements, if you're struggling academically in any way, or you're looking to just grow in a particular area, connect with our with Access, and we'll have a resource. And if we don't have it, we'll point you to the right resource.
Thank you so much for that information. And lastly, if you go to the College of Social Sciences website, you'll be able to do a drop down for all of your various departments, and you'll be able to access different information on resources, opportunities. So don't hesitate to click on these links. I'm actually going to send this PowerPoint out to all of you because these are active links, and it'll take you to those websites. And lastly, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, this was our first attempt at doing this program in this virtual format. So I will be sending out a survey to both our faculty and our students, and I invite you to share your feedback with us. We have our next one coming up next month. This one's going to be working with our students and our faculty in the College of Health and Human Sciences, and then we're going to wrap up the semester with students in humanities and the arts. And in the fall, we'll continue with our STEM areas and also College of Business and College of Education. So your feedback is going to be greatly appreciated. We will follow up with you with contact information so you can continue the conversations. Thank you so much. This is a great honor to be in this community space with you all, and let's continue building. Thank you so much. We hope you have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.